Hello there, everybody. That was a little mic test, mic check. 1 2 1 2. Look like it's working well. We're live right here on the Great Bullhorn app, live app. And might I say to Bullhorn, you have really came a long way. This is an amazing platform, and just everything about it is awesome. I have a show where I discuss apps, so I definitely give a 10 out of 10 for this, most definitely. Well, let's go ahead and get on with this. I've posted on here before slightly. I didn't really, it was just still testing it out. So this is the full official, I think, streaming over to YouTube, my YouTube channel. And so here we are. Today it's audio. Sometimes it'll be audio. Sometimes it'll be video. So on YouTube, you can definitely listen in. And for the most part, social audio, as we've discussed many of times, the power of voice is beneficial. It's amazing. It's more impressive and more intimate when voice is being heard. And video has its pros, right? But let's carry on right here today with the bullying effect. The bullying effect. Now, many know that I have a whole perspective, a whole movement, a whole anti-bullying to the max investment. For the most part, it's surprisingly as it sounds, it's not really as easy as it is to get people in this world to really care too much about things. They may say they do because they don't want to sound cruel, but how many anti-bullying, you know, movements or organizations have they been a part of or they've joined? None yet? Oh, okay, well, then there's your answer. No, seriously, that doesn't really mean that. But, I mean, like I said in my original statement, that's just how it is. I mean, there's a plethora of anti-bullying programs out there, a plethora, right? So when someone tries to attempt to say, well, there's stuff out there, it's like, yeah, and yet here we are. But see, this is the thing. You create something and it sits there in waiting for whomever needs it. I, on the other hand, am one that used to be in the classrooms, be in the environment of where most of bullying happens. And it needs to be more of boots to the ground, more going out into the settings and places that we know that bullying usually arises. That's a no-brainer. Common sense, if you ask me. But that's how much it's needed. Um, it's quite astounding how people are unaware of the spike in suicides, and it gets younger and younger. The youngest I know of is 8 years old. That is very heart wrenching and troubling to have to really think about our youth being that troubled, that level where life is not what they want anymore. They don't want to live. They don't want to be here anymore. But this is the thing. We have to remove suicide off of the table, right? First of all, because these are young people, and I don't think they're really thinking like, you can't really come back from this, but it hurts. The pain, is there. And, I really don't focus in on the psychobabble, no disrespect, when as soon as they hear these things, psychologists, psychiatrists want to jump in and say, well, see, what's happening here is what the children, they really are suffering from. And it's like, you got the wrong one, okay? I already know better than that, okay? We know doctors and all that stuff are going to do that thing they do, but that's not really always what it is. And so for the simple fact that that shouldn't even be the response to it, because where was that asked at prior to this? So don't come in with it now. You come in with your indoctrinated book theory, impossible, you know, to whatever they have seen or dealt with or have spoken to children or youth that has been bullied, committed suicide. You know what I mean? They have their experience, but that's not the case a lot of the times, and that's just not how it should be approached. Because to me, that shows, once again, it's not about the problem and what's going on and saving their lives. You're just still trying to say something's wrong with them. Something's wrong with them. For goodness sakes, they've been feeling that something's wrong with them. People bully, you know, do treacherous things, cyberbullying. It's just so much. I've sat back and I've seen a lot of this go on, even within the handicapped and disabled and mentally, challenged. All of it. I've seen all of it, and it was quite disgusting of how people can just sit there and be the vile creatures and human beings that their parents raised them to be, I guess, and do these despicable, horrible things to people, right? But one can't really judge how one is, how they're receiving it on the other end and how it makes them feel, because nobody likes to be made fun of or picked on or anything. So in these times, it really is not fitting for people to be too opinionated, but more of help, useful, not their thoughts and, you know what I mean? Because you get a lot of that, but that's the world we live in. That's what people do. They talk, don't really do any walk. They talk, drop some opinions, and say a little something and think they done, said some shit. But yeah, here we are. It's never really about the individuals, the ones that are suffering, no matter what we all say. See how clearly I saw that? I wonder why other people can't. I don't know. But the way it needs to be approached is approached it as these children are human beings versus a medical case or a mental case or somebody that just thinks they know stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, no. That's why I said actively, boots to the ground. You have to go to where it's at. And it's quite obvious where it's everywhere. But for the people that probably are still stumped, that would be schools. And that would be at home, because online bullying within Insta, Facebook, Snap, those ranks the highest when asked the youth which apps did they get the most bullying and trolling in, and those were the ones. So therefore, that would mean on their phones, in school, at home, Either way it goes, they just can't escape it. But the point I'm trying to make here is that this is some real stuff. Why isn't it up there on the docket like everything else? The world's in an uproar right now, and everybody's over there just, you know, protecting and chanting and saying, "Yay, help the Ukraine." You know what I'm saying here? So I don't want to get all political, and then people get all antsy, because as soon as you start talking about stuff that people obviously feel a way about, wonder why, then it's a different story. But what my point is, this is just as important. This right here was always that important. So why one and not the other? See, I don't buy this whole worldly support shit. Okay, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or anything but clearly have vision and a brain to see that's some BS. For the simple fact, if you feel inflicted pain by one person's pain and atrocities and what they're going through, then trust and believe you wouldn't skip all the other ones, okay? So you can just not buying it, don't care who you are. If that's your MO, then please miss me with it. It's not sensible, okay? Nothing logical about it. If it's not logical, there's no truth, honesty, intent, there's no ethics, you know what I mean? It's all flawed, then yeah, not buying it. Try again, because that shit was weak. And it's weak. Weak, 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 weak. But this right here is something that people look at and say, we got to help these babies. They're, you know, and it's so close to home. You know what I mean? They are in a war too. But we only see things and think things the way we want to, and then the way that it's fed to us, right? But my point is that it's BS. I'm not buying the care and tears for the simple fact, as human beings, if you didn't have it for other people, no matter what race, creed, gender, if you didn't have it for them, then you're full of crap. Plain and simple. I write in big letters if I have to. You're full of crap, and that shit is fake as hell. Because someone that has empathy and that has care or feels sympathetic for other people's pains and the suffering that they're going through, it would be the same with anybody that was going through that. Anybody. If you are truly one that is concerned for just human beings' lives. But if it's just one and not the other, yeah, that's not how that works. Okay? So fake. I can smell the cheap plastic. Like, seriously. I can't believe people. Anywho. But yeah, this right here. All the things that's going on over the world, and even right here. Didn't see anybody batting, doing anything. Nobody was concerned when, a lot of black people, African Americans, were left behind and pushed off and said, not you. And the crazy part, because bullying is so embedded into this world, right? So this is nothing new under the sun. I mean, look at that right there. That's a whole other form of bullying. And it's pretty freaking inhumane. So that being said, where was those feelings for those people? And I'll say it over and over again to the top of my, screaming, right? Because if that didn't bother you, then that shit that you say is bother you, that's fake as hell, doesn't bother you. Because human care, concern, and empathy and sympathy for people's lives and their safety, you don't get to really just choose like not like that, because that just shows that you don't have that one that truly has that within them. They truly have those things within them, right? It's not really any place for love and hatred to coincide together. Some might say it does, but that's just because they don't know, because they probably have those ideologies. I mean, shit, you expect doctrination, all that stuff. You don't even know what's what. But let me tell you, when you actually truly have compassion and empathy for people, just on the accord that they are people, just like you, I, everybody else, human lives, right? Then those things are no-brainers. But my point being said, there was enough compassion there for those people that got denied, and some lost their lives due to being cold. And I mean, it's such a effed up world, or better stated, people in this world messed up. But that right there just shows. And then for the poorly raised people that say that when people bring that up and give that whole really trashy, just disgusting gutter bucket attitude, like, oh, here we go again, it's about race. Those people that do that, yeah, that's some really scummy smelling shit there. And that should be very much something that one should be very embarrassed and basically just should be embarrassed by that behavior, to be that way, to see how that looks, to carry that type of energy and ways is very just ugly and cruel. I don't see how one could be happy with themselves representing themselves that way. If you can understand that. I don't. It's nothing nice, beautiful, kind, anything about it. It's inhumane, monstrous, and if you wouldn't want it to be you, then common sense would tell you that why would you inflict it or be okay with it with others? That means, oh, you don't really have a problem with it. So if it happens, or in life, you know what I mean? We've seen the world do things in this world that are out of our control. A lot of those things. There's a lot of things that people just don't really think or know because they just see, touch, all that stuff. The basics. That's the basic shit. People don't see beyond because they've been brainwashed, and what they see is what they know. They don't think outside. They don't let their brain really do much but just be told information and just rock with it, right? But in this world that is not ran by lower beings, if these very things were to turn and happen to another of happen to people that did the same thing, wouldn't that just be awful? That's why people say try walking in other people's shoes, because that right there makes one a person of integrity, ethics, an all around upstanding person. But we're not, and still inflict and still go along with the ideology, knowing that you wouldn't want it to happen to you. Of those people, cowards, right? Cruel, you know, all that stuff that is very nasty. And so here we are in this world, dealing with things that you would think, damn, how far have we come? And we're still doing things like this with human beings, the horrific things that human beings do to human beings, the killing, the devastation, all of these things. Are you telling me that people are just okay with this? Like, this is not how it's supposed to be. This I know. But when you educate yourself truly, without any of our own prideful, indoctrinated beliefs, you find out a lot, and you find out that this goes way, way back, way, way, way. And they even know, biblically, the very people that set this one up for us, they even know. So they got other people out here living, trying to live life, and get by and get through. Did everything they could to put doubt in people when it came to the Most High. But they believe. Played? Have you been? Yeah. That's why Rockefeller took critical thinking out of school. It worked perfectly. Look at it. Worked like a fucking charm. Because clearly, just by looking around the world alone, the things that happen in this world, and I'm talking about the sun, the sky, I'm talking about nature, I'm talking about the fact that a baby can grow inside of a woman. Those things right there show someone like me that's in touch and in tune and see past just what's created through man, the indoctrinated shit. Because I'm in touch with my humane side, the one that was given to me through my creator, right? I can sense and see those things beyond. We know that our system, our government didn't create us. Like, so for people that just don't, for whatever reason they do, that's luck for them. Good for you. But how'd you get here? How'd you get that soul, that brain, the very things that create you and make you you? Because you damn sure didn't do it. Because if you did, I mean, shit. Well, why are we all sitting here not being able to get to where we need to get a lot of times? If that's the case, right? If you see what I'm saying here, we wouldn't be at the hands of this system trying to get by. So what I'm saying is, we don't have anything to truly really do with a lot of things. We are energy within this body, right? And all we do is just run our mouths about a lot of shit, right? That's about it. That's about it. But when you truly open, first of all, you have to be humble. And I promise you, a lot of people will say, oh, I'm humble. And I love it because I'm like, no, you're not. What's the definition? You're not fucking humble because obviously you don't know what that means. Too quick to say that. And clearly not the case. You know, humility and humble, they go together. But then people, oh, it's humility. Why I gotta, but you go read or do something, learn for a change. Just say it. Because when we do that, then we're not thrown off by words that we just think we know or we've heard and it just sounds bad. I can't. That's why I just stopped having a lot of conversations with people. Humility. And it's spoken about a lot with God. Wisdom, 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 wisdom. Spoken about so much when it comes to the Most High, right? Humility, humbleness, right? To be able to bring yourself to a place where you can see, you it's kind of like this. You know how they say the richest man is the poorest man, right? Because he's rich in heart. He has everything of a rich person. See, this money was created by this world here, okay? It was created to control, and if that is your goal and that is what leads you, then boom, controlled. But has nothing to do with being rich. It's not even backed by gold. But that's a whole other story. Nothing to do with that. It's all about how it's controlled, our mindset, facts. And if you're not doing anything else outside of that, then keep going along for the ride. But the ride's going to end. And then when the ride ends, it's going to be some damn, I wish I would have. You know what I'm saying? It seriously is. People think that this is just something that just goes on and on and on, and we'll just be here forever and ever, and we'll just be on a planet with evilness for, you know what I mean? It's like, if that's the case, then you seem pretty okay with it. You know what I mean? And then you want to bring your kids in too? Wow, that's quite amazing. So just tell them just to roll over and do nothing too. Yeah, okay. Let me tell you, just because things are bad or looking bad or might be getting to a place, which it is, doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything. Stand up, because either you stand for something or you'll fall for anything, okay? Fall, right? And your best to do something, because every president has spoken of the New World Order. Every president. So for the people like, oh, that's a conspiracy thing, that's history once again. I mean, they did it to Einstein. I mean, and we learn these things, and yet then we'll do it. And it's just like, man, I'm telling you, this cognitive dissonance is fucking on hit. Excuse my language, but I'm just saying. Because we've been here, and then people talk about it as if they were up on it. And it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Because you're not even concerned about the right shit. The shit that you totally tell that school did nothing, because the very things that common sense should play a part in, like duh, people just, it just goes right over their heads because they talk and don't really listen and seek, right? World order, it's a world order. There's nowhere. There's going to be no one that's not under it. There's no land or no country, nowhere you're going to fucking go. That's all the nations, everyone. So therefore, wouldn't it be very beneficial for you, for all of us, to stop being lazy and start doing something about something? If not, then shut up and stop complaining and making comments or having talks because for what? It's not worth a damn fucking thing. You're just gonna sit by and let it happen to you. That's what it is. It's like freaking Stockholm syndrome, yo. Real shit. But those things and being able to really have that vision and that mindset and that wisdom really comes through educating oneself. Some people just stopped after they got out of the school system, and that shit wasn't going to ever get you anywhere in the first place. So when you stop there, you kind of just, you know, thought you were good. I don't know, everybody. All I'm saying is our youth deserve a better chance. And even if not, or if so, but not going hard and doing our best to do that for them is our failure. Plain and simple. You don't need money to help make change, create change, support, bring awareness. I mean, I see people bring awareness about all kind of silly shit. So don't tell me, 'cause I was in it, still am. That's why I like to host and podcast. Not because, ooh, yay, podcasting. We need to do podcasts and we know a lot about it and blah, blah, blah. No, mother freaker. It's because voice brings change, but I also love to connect with people and I love authentic conversations. I like growth. I like to collab. I like to be able to connect with people that have had those experiences. There's been a lot of things that I have experienced and came up against during my time in podcasting. Meeting someone, helping someone that was possibly going to harm themselves, helping someone that was being told to off themselves because they're autistic. All these horrific things. I'm actually collabing with someone now for the last like twice a week that he's into martial arts, but he used to get bullied and sometimes still now, but is helping in the movement and support for anti-bullying. And that's what it's about. It's like connecting with people that had those struggles too and having them to be able to help others because they've been through it, right? It's so much. There's so much to it. It's not just a simple fixed thing. It's so many levels. And right now, number one, number one is removing the choice of suicide. This is a fact for the simple fact. The whole bullying, cyberbullying thing, that's a more broader situation that, to be honest with you, really just needs to have more stricter policies and things like that. But when it comes to the people that are up against it, that get affected by it, it's really just it's necessary for families, parents, teachers, and everyone to be involved so that we can give these kids a better way to deal with these things, because look at the world now as grown-ups, as grown people, and we're still up against assholes and shitty people, right? These are kids and youth, so they're young, their mental state a lot younger, a lot different, right? So we have to give them tools, but not just to allow it to happen, but to get them better prepared. You understand what I'm saying? Because in this world, you're always going to find that type of behavior. But when it becomes a whole phenomenon, everybody's just like, you got adults, teachers doing it, schools not doing anything, shit like that, but kids not safe going to school, that's a whole different ballpark. These are not just isolated incidents. You didn't pay close attention. There was a bunch of teachers, even up to now, that were allowing the bullying or doing something themselves to the students. Understand? So it's a whole bigger, broader perspective, situation, and first things first is removing the option of or choice of suicide. How do you do that? Well, I personally had talked to some youth that I had on my show a few times too, right? And they were actually doing a podcast too, but also a lot of them were a part of this dance group. So they all had, different things that they were into and that they do. And some of them had spoke on how their hobbies or the things they're passionate about that they do helps them. It's a place for them to release, to be okay, to deal with the things that they have to deal with. One that I was speaking to, it was like you can kind of sense it already in her eyes, kind of, as she spoke of dance, the way she did, and why she loved it so much. That being said, you have to give other options, things they can do. That's just an example, but a good one. But when it gets up to that point where you're just wanting to take your life, and a lot of times, a lot of situations, the child had reached out, said something. It's not always just silently, you didn't know. No, it's not. People just didn't care enough or thought it was serious enough, right? Because we like to do that, think a lot, think for people. People sometimes just need to stop thinking. Because it's already like we're not thinking, because when we think, just fuck up shit even more, just get it wrong. Excuse my language. But just want to come on here for a little bit and talk about that on Bullhorn. You have to forgive me. Lot on my plate and on my mind, so I found it hard to find wording today. Or is it coming along with old age? I'm not old. I'm in my prime, right? Sheesh. But once again, shout out to Bullhorn. This was just a spare the hour, hop on, give voice, and talk about some things. This is not an actual episode that I'm putting on the show, but it will be here on Bullhorn if you ever want to check it out. My actual shows that I put onto my podcast things are a lot more brushed up than this, right? Right. But eventually I will have like a file for like my radio shows and things like this. So very much so. And I definitely want to test out too, so I can bring people on here, invite people on, because I have a cool event coming up soon. And I'm trying to narrow it down to which one I want to use. And I'm thinking Bullhorn, you might be the winner. You do have a competitor though. TalkShoe, amazing. But I don't know if you can have more than one person in the room. I think you can. I think. But still, this is an amazing setup. I love how you have the, the interactive room, the meeting room while people, while they wait for the show. So kudos to Bullhorn. I'm definitely going to be talking about this app, this hosting site and app for podcasts right here on Applause and Apport and App Porter. Until next time, guys, thank you if you tuned in. And if you did not tune in, that's great too. But at least do something. Be about something. Be supportive. Be kind. Stop contributing to the bull crap that's being sold out here. If you're not supporting all human lives and you're pitting people against who's that and not for them, and all you're doing is perpetuating the ongoing cycle of what we've always been going through. Okay, do something different for a change, or just shut it up. Yes, I said it, and I'll say it again, because you're not helping. What if we just took all that shit one day and we just started being more positive and spreading kindness intentionally, giving people, kind affirmations and, encouragement. No, we can't do that, right? So, messed up. And that would be silly. That's crazy. What would we do that for? That's not American. I tell you, human beings are the most complicated and messed up. We're supposed to be the most intelligent creatures, but I don't believe that. I don't believe it for a second, because obviously, look around and look at how the things that we do, knowing what certain things do and we still do it. That's not intelligent, okay? But you know who? I always pay attention to the wildlife, to nature. That'll tell you a lot if you want to learn anything. But yeah, you're probably too busy watching the dumb box and doing other things, chasing tail, everything that people do, looking for help. Just shit, everything but everything, right? All I'm saying is life isn't to be taken for granted, and it doesn't have to be so horrific. Experience it, but when I say experience it through a way that only can be experienced. And when you let go of this worldly pride of who you thought and think that you are or not, and find out who you truly are. Let go and see what happens. But live. Not with the confines of this world, or, I'm going to need money to do this, and that. None of that. Because you weren't brought into this motherfucker with it, and you're not leaving with it. And the simple fact you weren't brought into it with it, take it all away, strip all of that away, and you're standing there, then what you got? Who are you? What you stand for? Who created you? Until next time, y'all have a good day. Let me see something real quick. Oh, cool. So it's on over here. I went to YouTube to see if they can hear me over there. I shouldn't have streamed it over there, because this wasn't one of those type of shows. But it is what it is. Alrighty. Well, I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything, YouTube.
We are the Breakfast Club. It's Friday, so you know what that means.
My bad.
Freaky Friday. Freaky.
My bad. There it goes.
We are the Breakfast Club. It's Friday, so you know what that means.
My bad. No, that was like recorded. It's lagging. My bad. There it goes. Okay, I'm just testing something out here, y'all. No, that was like recorded. It's lagging. Not being able to get to where we need to get. Okay, so it was playing over there.
We are the Breakfast Club. It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's freaky.
It's lagging. Oh. Not being able to get to where we need to get. Okay, so it was playing over there. Yes, I said it. I'll say it again because you're not. And mentally, challenged at all of it. I've seen all of it, and it was quite disgusting of how people can just sit there and be the vile creatures and human beings that their parents are. Beneficial. It's amazing. It's all right. Okay, so play to play, and it's a play on there too. But oh well. So that being said, this was mic check 1 2 1 2, and just what a doozy. Not going to be on any platforms. Peace out, y'alls.